Thank you, Steve. I'm here now with Senator David Jordan, and he is the author of From the Mississippi Cotton Fields to the State Senate, right? And this is your memoir. And tell us about this book and about your life and what's inside the pages.
Well, it's 25 chapters. First chapter, born in the cotton field, because I went so early back in those days. One chapter there on the Emmett Till case, and there were incidents in my life, early life, that inspired me to write this book. Some things that happened to me personally, some things that I saw happen in the Mississippi Delta that was unjust to African American people. So it took me 5 years to write this book.
Wow.
And of course I wrote most of it when I was in the Senate at night, away from home. But I started losing pages because when I bring it home, my wife would clean my office and I couldn't find it anymore, so I just got a big duffel bag and put it all in there till I pretty well completed, and then I brought it all home, and during the summer I would work with it.
Great.
Yes.
That's amazing. That sounds like a real strategy for writing. You know, it's all coming out and you're putting all the pages together.
Yeah.
And you were born in what year? 1934.
34.
So you have seen in your lifetime so many historic events that I, grew up hearing about, from the civil rights movement on up until today. And I mean, that your experience just must be insane, because you know really the truth of what happened in those days.
Yes, Dr. King was in Greenwood. I scheduled him 3 weeks before he was assassinated in Memphis. It was March 16, 1968. He was assassinated April 4th, 1968. So just 3 weeks he was in Greenwood. Greenwood was was a tough spot. A person who killed Medgar Evers from Greenwood, Emmett Till, was carried from Leaflore County, which Greenwood is the headquarters in Leaflore County, into Tallahatchie County, and was brutally murdered there and lynched there and thrown in the Tallahatchie River. So all of that. So Greenwood has quite a history. First time doctor ever put on individual for trying to register to vote was in Greenwood, downtown Greenwood, back in '62.
And how did you, as a young man growing up with the system stacked against you, how were you able to rise above?
Well, some things happened in my early life. I was beaten as a young boy by a white person. I sat, and then I saw another black family man beaten, and the family was crying, "Don't kill my dad."
Oh my
So
gosh.
all of this is in the book. So I decided that I wouldn't leave Mississippi. I never left Mississippi to head north, other than going to school, graduate school. I'm a graduate of University of Wyoming with a master's degree in chemistry, also undergrad at Mississippi Valley State University. I'm a retired chemistry teacher, but I never forgot what happened in my early life, and I decided I would do my best to make it better here at home.
And that, I mean, that's such an amazing thing to say, because I mean, this is also a time when you were growing up where it was dangerous.
Very dangerous.
You saw young men actually being killed, or who were killed. And so it's no small feat to say, you say it, I wanted to stay from Mississippi, but I understand how huge of a decision that was for you.
Well, yes, because some people left Mississippi when walking were most too slow.
Yeah.
It was really a dangerous place. It's not funny, but it really was dangerous, and it took a lot of maladjustment for justice in order to stay here and fight this. That's why I had to start my own city. I had to sue my own city to change the form of the city government, so that African American would have an opportunity to serve. I had to sue the state, create the second congressional district. That's Jordan versus William Winter Jordan versus Fancher, and suing the city of Greenwood. So there have been major lawsuits I had to file on behalf of, as a teacher. I would fight Jordan versus the school system, and I won all those cases along with the help of some good lawyers and many others who was involved. So it hasn't been smooth sail. So I'm impressed that Mississippi Business Journal would write this story, because it is a Delta story. It's about someone who grew up rock bottom poor. Maybe we were not poor, we were just broke. We didn't have anything. So it's a story about us, and it has gone. I've been to Austin, Texas book signing, and the book has done quite well.
That's
from
amazing.
a local author for the first time.
Well, and I think that we talk a lot about when you grew up and how hard things were, but obviously progress has been made since that day. There's still so many challenges facing equality, but what some of the things that you saw happen that were actually good as you've grown up?
Well, what happened really that helped us some was the Voting Rights Act was the vehicle that I used got African American registered to vote, and the people who were against us, who were doing all the things to us, we put them out of office and took over office. So that was a vehicle we used. But I've seen, as I've indicated, I've seen blacks beaten, I've seen them kicked, and all that kind of stuff. And right now, blacks have some rights, but they don't have all that are due to them. But as I use the spiritual analysis, we are made to Moab. We have one more river to cross. And gracefully, that here in Mississippi, we've been able to do better. Not what it ought to be, but it's better than what it was. And we're looking at the national perspective in Ferguson, with a town of 70% African Americans, then they only have 3 police on that force. That's disgraceful. We passed that long time ago. We're about 70% African American in Greenwood, but the majority of our police department is African American.
It's representative of the population.
And also, we have 7 councilmen. 5 of them are African Americans. Board of Supervisors in the county, we have 5 supervisors, 4 of them are African American.
Yeah, that makes.
So it's much. I was shocked to know that a town in Missouri was this far backward. That's what created the chaotic conditions there.
Exactly, and I think that it's so important, and I feel like people are waking up and they might be like, wow, we're getting into some heavy stuff, but I think it's so important to talk about these things because they happen. This is the truth, and we can't try to smooth things over and pretend that there weren't those injustices that happened, and there aren't still existing injustices and tensions that exist, because we're doing ourselves a disservice if we do that.
Well, certainly we're riding for a fall when we do that, and because America is 300+ million people in this country. When we go to war, sometimes African Americans are the first to go and sometimes the first to die. So they have a right to enjoy everything that the Constitution said. But I always say that African Americans didn't write the Constitution. White people wrote it, and they would have a difficult time making them trying to live up to what they were able to write. So this is America, whereas everybody has a right, male, female, everybody have a place in the sun.
It's so true, and I have to say, I was reading this article before during the break, and I wanted to just say the quote that you said, or you can say it, but you said, my mission is to continue to get the job done. My mission is to continue to get the job done and make life better for others. And if my book encourages just one person not to allow ignorance, prejudice, and hatred to write their epitaph, then I have done my job. And that's so true, because your story can maybe show people who might be dismissive of a population that's not representative, to show them you're a person too. There are so many, behind every statistic that we hear, there are people. Yeah,
because I actually, it was difficult. One reason that I wrote the book was to show African Americans that they don't have to wallow in despair. They can work hard and be successful. I came from the cotton field all the way up. We didn't have changing clothes, and I didn't have any money to go to college, but I got a dishwashing job at a Holiday Inn. And when I finished college, I was cooking there. I had a trade as well as a college education. So when I finished college, I was asked to go to St. Louis to become assistant manager with the Holiday Inn Company, because I had worked from a dishwasher up to a evening cook, and I knew the process. So you can make it, but you have to stay focused. It's going to be a little more difficult for African Americans than it is anybody else, but that means we just have to be a little more vigilant than those other people. But we can make it, but it's going to be tough.
Yeah. And I think that, it's not the end of history. We don't have to accept the status quo as right. Society can always be moving forward, and that's what you did when you were, suing for your rights throughout your lifetime. You didn't accept the status quo, and if you had, we wouldn't have see the rights and equality that we see today. So it's really important.
You bet not. So it's you have to be half maladjusted to do that. Maladjusted for justice.
Exactly.
If you want to put it that way, but you just couldn't wallow in despair and push pity parties. You had to do something.
Make
change. You have to stay focused. You have to be able to make a decision, whether it's popular or unpopular. Because actually, if you're dealing in the public, the decisions you make, they can be the right one. They don't have to be the popular
Yeah.
one, but you have to live with that.
A lot of times, the right decision might not be the popular
You
decision.
bet not. Most time it's not.
Until 50 years later, then they'll go, oh, that was so brave. But in your day, you know, most people probably will not say it's very popular. Well, you know, I really appreciate having you on this morning and having a great conversation with you. And we are here in the news watching what's happening in Missouri, and we're shaking our heads during the commercial break. So it's great to be able to talk to somebody and really talk about the issues that are there. And of course, where can people pick up your book? Where can they find it?
They can find it at in Lemire in Jackson. They can find it in Conroe in Greenwood, Mississippi. I've been all over signing books, even Austin, Texas. And they can buy it from me. It's $25 plus tax.
Great.
It's about $26.75. You may pay a little more in a bookstore.
Okay.
But the book has been a good seller, and I plan to go other places to sell. And magazines have begun to pick it up now.
Well, I think it's really important, and I just thank you for putting your story down on paper, because you're going to give so much confidence to the next generation, and they can look at what you've done, and hopefully it'll inspire others to fight for what's right.
Because the bottom line, we all are here together, and we must get along.
Exactly.
And we can do it, but it's going to take a little giving and taking from both sides.
I agree. You know, it's sometimes the easier thing.
Well, the young people actually have done more to bring us together as a people.
Really?
Of different races, y'all have, you went to school together in many instances, and now you understand each other, and you get along just well.
Well,
so
hopefully that will become the norm as we move forward.
The next generation, if we survive, we got to be absolutely sure that you survive.
Yeah, exactly. And, we'll try our best to carry on the torch. Thank you so much for coming on this morning. It was really a pleasure talking to you. We'll be right back.